Hello, I am the Ronin Vaughn, and this is NationStates. Welcome back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Reform is insufficient, revolution is necessary, as spoken first by my great teacher and Zen master, Theodore Kaczynski. For those of you who don't know, that's the Unabomber. Let's see, you gotta pick your hero as well. We've got issues in Pawtucket, a big fracking problem. To start with, natural gas extraction has been thrust into the political spotlight after a corporation proposed utilizing hydraulic fracturing to boost the— damn, that is a lot of multisyllabic words, man. I just barely got through it and then stopped the sentence halfway. After weeks of protest, a crowd of lobbyists and environmental protesters have barged into your office and demand that you finally make a decision. Any opposition to hydraulic fracturing has been born out of ignorance, claims Shale the Love lobbyist Lucy Mouse. Shale the love, everybody. Shale it on your neighbors. Shale it on some strangers. Shale it on the kitten that's on your desk. Don't do that. That might be illegal. If we further hydraulic fracturing, we can finally be independent of foreign natural gas. Do you really want to continue paying dictatorships like Maxtopia for their expensive oil? Just think of the advantage producing our own natural gas will give us. Look at the charts that clearly show how many jobs this will create in rural areas. We should be encouraging fracking operations and cracking down on these environmental terrorists who would be happy to send us back to the Stone Age. Well, frack it.
Excuse me, I don't think you understand the magnitude of these environmental issues,
says Shigeru Malik, the organizer of the anti-fracking protest movement, No Fracking Way. Which, by the way, Shigeru Malik, father Japanese, mother African?
Fracking can pollute the air and contaminate groundwater with toxic chemicals, which will end up in millions of people's drinking water. Weren't you guys paying attention when fracking operations caused all those earthquakes in Blackacre? Never mind that they're on a fault line. We must put an end to fracking and start investing into green energy sources like wind, solar, and tidal power. We'll never run out of those clean energy sources, but we will run out of clean air to breathe.
Very topical, nation states, because I don't remember which state of the union it is, but one of them has had a whole lot of fracking and they never had any significant earthquakes before, and now it's a tremor every day. So, does it have an impact? The herb? There's always room for compromise, chimes in Judy Pong, one of your top aides famous for diffusion tension in your office. We obviously can't ignore the benefits of fracking, but we can't turn a blind eye to the impact it would have on our environment either. Score! Why not allow fracking, but only in areas of Pawtucket where there are no major populated areas? I hear that the land in the northern House Mouse mountain range is just ripe for hydraulic fracturing. There is a house mouse preservation area nearby, but it's not like they're going to be protesting or anything. Listen, I've got a kitten now, okay? And the best thing for a kitten's diet is the house mouse, so I've got to protect them, and honestly, yeah, we did a little fracking in the States, and now we've got, like, a sinkhole where a state used to be. So I'm gonna say, let's look for other solutions. Drills and shovels have been banned as the government cracks down on any means of fracking. Tax on children's lemonade stands overzealous, parents protest. Pawtuckian parents concerned about youth employment. Pawtuckians living longer, working harder. Assault figures punch through historical lows. What? Oh my god, that's so beautiful! Look at this Ocean Nova develop a world-class environment. So by deciding not to literally create giant hollow caverns under the places where people live, I've done something for the environment. I think I just didn't screw it up. Economy took a dip on the Krugman Greenspan Business Outlook Index, but you know, me and the economy, we've got kind of a love-hate relationship. Don't get me wrong, I have a personal vault just full of beers for me, but as far as other people go, get out there and work for a living. Should probably get out of my pajama pants if I'm gonna say that. Oh, but won't somebody think of the children? On your way to work this morning, you noticed an unusually high number of orphans pickpocketing and asking for more. May I have some more, sir? Just some more. More? Just a bit more. More? By the way, on my way to work this morning, I'm a dictator, okay? I have a tinted black limousine. I can't even see out of it. I didn't notice any orphans. There's a reason why it's tinted black. I don't want to see what you people are doing. Realizing that this may put a stain on Pawtucket's reputation, you have asked for opinions on how to deal with this orphan overcrowding problem. Okay, well, people could just parent their own children. God bless you, Slater, but you can't spare a copper or two for us poor little cherubs, meekly asked an orphan known as Minuscule Max, who has managed to pick your pocket without you noticing. We should just put these bastards to work if they're that efficient. The old orphanage is in a right sorry state, and no mistake. Just yesterday we had to burn our caps and clogs to have something to warm ourselves by. Top of the morning to you laddies, it's Jacksepticeye. All we asking is that you have a think about us. Maybe them fighting soldiers could get less and we could get some more. More? I agree that these children should not be left to fend for themselves, but let's not be too hasty about lowering military funding. When did that come into? What, reminds your semi-compassionate Minister of Defense who prefers to kill enemies kindly. In fact, why do we even need these orphanages? These children are sponging off the government's teat, and all we get in return is a bloated welfare budget. All orphan children should be sent to military training academies, and then they can repay us for our generosity by fighting for our glorious rogue nation. No, I don't think so. Listen, everybody does a year. Everybody does a year, but, you know, just chucking the orphans into basic training, like, when they're 12? No. I can't believe what I'm hearing, gasps. Oh, wait. I can't believe what I'm hearing, gasps factory owner Colleen Scrooge. I bet she's got some ideas about how to handle the orphanages, whose remarkably clean hands have never known a day of honest labor. I do have rather nice ones, don't I? How could we be sinking so low as to even consider wasting such a valuable resource on the military? I agree that we should get these kids off the government teat, but we should lower the working age so they can work and earn money to fend for themselves. Send these orphans to work in my factories and I'll pay them a very generous wage. Seems to me these kids are fending pretty well for themselves already. I mean, I'm the dictator president, I got like guards standing around me, and you know, Jacksepticeye over there, he managed to pick my pocket in a heartbeat. You know, I think our friends in Daguo have the right idea with their one-child policy, suggests population control expert Sven Octavian while going over the latest birth certificate. Pawtucket has a population of 152 million and growing. We can barely keep up as it is without adding orphans into the mix. I propose adopting Daguo's one-child policy here while offering generous tax incentives for the good people of Pawtucket to adopt our remaining orphans. It may be a tad restrictive, but the people will thank me when they aren't suffocating on the subway. You know, I've never been really, like, a fan of telling people how many kids you can have, but, you know, China could benefit, well, but they're telling them what kind of kids they can have, too. You know, another thing to consider here is that single children are a little bit messed up. Let me just tell you, you know, if you don't have, like, a brother or a sister at any point in your life, it's a little bit kind of a sociopath. I know, I'm a single child, and welcome to my YouTube channel of sociopathy. And you see how I decided to run this place, right? And I'm just saying, if I would have had, you know, a sibling, maybe I would have, like, pushed his head into the toilet and flushed it. And then the question is, what are you gonna do when somebody accidentally has 2 kids, or just says, screw the government, and we're gonna have 9 kids, and then you catch up to them, what do you do? What do you do with those kids, huh? What do you do with the people who had the children? What do you do when, you know, the prophylactic doesn't quite do it? So what do you do in that situation? You know, it's very, like, you give me the idea, but you don't specify what we're gonna do. Are we just gonna, like, throw them on the fire? Because I know, you know, we have an energy crisis in this country, as of last episode. We're gonna criminalize the act of procreation, and then people who have more than one child, then we're gonna have more orphans. Because we take the parents with it, doesn't make any sense. No, listen, God bless you, Slater. Yes, indeed. Jack, welcome to my channel. Come on in. Pull up a bowl of porridge, but you can't have any more. Orphans would rather live their life of luxury than be adopted by prospective parents. 14-year-old girl unifies quantum theory, general relativity. Oh my god, my kids are frickin' geniuses. Tourism industry braces for influx. Kittens becoming softer, scientists say. Economic slump minor, temporary, experts says. What do you mean, economic? I made 2 decisions in a row that were kind of, you know, bad for the economy. Oh, youth rebelliousness is way down. It's down, because we just gave them all PlayStation 4s for Christmas. They're frickin' thrilled. Ooh, looks like we've got a Law and Order type thing. Now, let me just preface this by saying, I did at one point consider going into the law. I have a very self-absorbed and psychopathic mind. Did I mention that earlier? I like logic, actually, is the thing. Despite, like, everything you've ever seen on this channel, I like logic. I like programming. I like math. I'm not very good at it, but I understand how it works. I just can't actually put, like, 6 and 9 together and not get 14. I considered studying the law, and then I looked closer at it and realized that the law has nothing to do with logic. I mean, originally, maybe, you know, in somebody's warm cockles, yeah, the notion of the law in general, yeah, we'll do something logical and reasonable and sane, and protect everyone's rights. But that's not how it works. When you get in a courtroom, when you stand up in front of a jury or even a judge, and it's just like, you're just pitching to people. It's marketing, basically. The law has become marketing. And maybe we need more good people in the law, but it would have killed me. And on that note, plea bargains. Are they tipping the scales of justice? The high-profile case of Damon the Butcher of Pawtucket City, white, a serial murderer and rapist, has been the subject of outrage and derision. Aren't they always white? It's surprising how our prison populations are just full of every other color in this predominantly white nation, and yet, like, the most vicious animals amongst us, they all happen to be white. What's that about? They're the quiet guy, too, you know? They're the one nobody suspects. Well, he was always such a nice man. He was always such a nice... I always wondered what that smell was coming from his attic, but the animal skins he was tanning on the laundry line out back did look a little bit odd. But by golly, he kept the lawn mowed and his garden was absolutely beautiful. How could he be a murderer? The answer to which was that he was a single child. In exchange for a guilty verdict, no trial by jury, and testimony in another trial, White... Oh, that's his name. You weren't saying that he was white, but surely he was, especially with that name. I love to go racist, don't I? Racist humor is the best humor. White pled guilty to third-degree manslaughter, reducing his sentence to a paltry 3 months in prison. Serial murderer and rapist gets 3 months imprisonment. The justness of plea bargaining is now being called into question. Plea bargains degrade the fairness of our justice system, argues Alexander Anderson, a recently graduated lawyer. Prosecutors are only interested in getting their guilty verdict, and plea bargaining is the easiest way to get it. The recent trial of that psychopath mass murderer is a disgrace, and white people need to be locked up. Oh, that's not written there. If it had gone before a jury, he'd be behind bars by now. He won't, though, because the prosecutors and police are too lazy to do their jobs properly. Putting the man back on the streets is not justice. Plea bargaining must be banned. I'm not sure about that. I mean, you know, here's the thing, like, not all of our laws are good. And plea bargaining is a way to kind of, like, acknowledge that and say, you know, we got some laws on the book that need reforming, but we can't quite do it right now because of the political thing, you know, like, this doesn't deserve, like, what you did is not really deserving, but the law's on the book, so we have to enforce it, at least some people think we do. So, you know, being able to, like, give a prosecutor the authority to say, you know what, let's just let this one go, or let it slide a little bit. I kind of like that. I would like more if our system of justice, you know, made sense. For example, the marijuana laws, they have no purpose whatsoever and are completely bound in racism. Not even against whites. What that moral elitist is neglecting to tell you, sneers Elena Bone, a prosecutor, is that plea bargaining has made our judicial system more effective, not less. There needs to be give and take so we can get to the truth, and that's what plea bargaining allows us. We were able to catch the worst criminal kingpin Pawtucket has ever seen because of Mr. White's testimony. Also, do you realize how clogged up and expensive the court system would be if every trial went before a jury? Very, my friend, very. Plea bargaining must be allowed to continue. Okay, you know, that's an additional point, I guess, but, I mean, you're just giving criminals, like, a little, we're just gonna pat you on the bum and send you out so we can catch the next biggest one. Like, honestly, I think that that's the kind of thing that should be done by the police force, as opposed to in the court of law, because the court is of law, and the police force is of enforcement. The police should really be, like, working confidential informants and that kind of thing, and not when you get into the courtroom deciding, well, we'll let this serial killer go so we can get the next biggest serial killer. You know, this is a trend now in NationStates, the one that starts with you know. We're gonna have to figure out what they tend to go to. You know, we wouldn't have to worry about any of this nonsense and controversy if we just stopped giving our criminals so many rights, says Chuck Targaray. You were fifth cousin 5 times removed. That's a stranger, is what that is. Double jeopardy, cruel and unusual punishment, the writ of habeas corpus. There are just so many inconvenient clauses in our Constitution that are getting in the way of keeping our streets clean of crooks. I say, we abolish the right to a fair trial and just lock people up if the judge thinks they've done something wrong. I mean, they're pretty smart guys, aren't they? See, the thing is, thing is that I don't entirely disagree. Like, I disagree with getting rid of the idea of double jeopardy, cruel and unusual punishment, the writ of habeas corpus, but the idea of just letting judges judge kind of makes sense given the world that I live in, where, oh god, smaller circuit judges don't, like, make the right decision anymore. Instead, they make the decision that is legally precedented. And, like, how do we have marijuana laws? I brought them up because I've been thinking about them lately. How do we have these laws that are based completely in racism, that are only still on the books because of political... Nixon used the marijuana laws to attack the anti-war movement while he was being told by his advisors there is absolutely no justification for marijuana laws. Everything we've ever been told about marijuana being something evil is a complete lie. He used it for his own political gain. The original marijuana laws are based in racism against Mexicans that was used to keep it... Like, look it up. Look it up. My point is that lower tier judges will not pass a judgment that they know is right, that is in standing with the concept of law, with the fundamental ideas of the preservation of people's rights and how we should enforce justice and who we should... They won't do it. They won't stand up for it because they're gonna follow the precedent first. They don't have the balls to, like, just judge and be a judge. And I feel like too many judges in our society don't see themselves as judges. They see themselves as, you know, the placeholders. I hold this seat and I do the job very mechanically. And it's like, no, that's not why we want you there. You've studied the law your entire life. You've practiced as a lawyer before. If you've made it to this tier, we want you to judge. And I understand that's a lot of power to put in any one person's hands, but, like, it's already in one person's hands when you're not in front of a jury. This is why I preface this by saying I had an interest in the law at one point, because the whole system is absolutely... Reform is insufficient, revolution is necessary. All that said, I have to make a decision here, and the decision comes down to, do I ban plea bargaining entirely? Do I allow plea bargaining to continue for kind of crappy reasons, or do I just say, get rid of the prosecution and the defense and let a judge judge? Oh, and in the process of that, I also have to throw away the rights of people who have been convicted of crimes. So, that's not an option. Banning plea bargaining sounds really bad. I hate to do this because this is exactly how we end up with the system that we have today in America, but let's just keep the system that we have! This doesn't work, it is broken, because all the other options suck. Give me more options next time. Innocent defendants often plead guilty for fear of receiving much harsher sentences before jury. Exactly the state. You know how many black people are in jail right now? Okay, that's more racist stuff. You know how many people are in jail right now because there is a statistical reality that if you're a certain color, you're more likely to actually be convicted, and it makes more sense when you do the math to just... Oh, God. Man almost catches enormous fish. Yeah, cheer me up. Group returning home from natural disaster struck by second natural disaster. Oh, great. Tourism industry discounts benefit locals. Chess tournament ends in violent brawl. Aren't there any puppies in Pawtucket? Safety and law enforcement are down after that decision. Look, they were all... I just want to... You know what? I'll be the judge. Let's just go to a fiefdom. I'll be the king. All decisions will be made by me, and everyone will be happy always. Sticks and stones may break my soul, but the justice system just killed me. Nicholas Condor, a prominent Bigtopian activist and soapbox orator, caused quite a stir last week when he publicly called for the complete extermination of the people of Pawtucket. Are they white? Accusing fellow citizens of being subhuman, immoral, and really ugly too. Can't disagree. Citizens Against Intolerance, a pressure group aiming to reduce social inequality, has demanded that the government put more resources into combating hate speech. Coincidentally, another society, also called Citizens Against Intolerance, has stood up for Mr. Condor, claiming that inhibiting his speeches would be a violation of his right to free speech. And, yeah, that's also... I can't believe we're even debating this, says Lisa Nixon, who was present at the infamous... Doesn't it worry you that a man who would obviously be happier if we all died horrible, painful deaths is allowed to walk around in public? Let him continue and he'll cause a riot. Free speech is supposed to protect people, but talking about genocide and killing, well, that doesn't help anyone. It breaks society, it drives us apart. Hate speech is a very serious crime, leader. You can't just ignore it, and I haven't, historically. Words by themselves can't hurt anyone, counters Miranda Dredd, a free speech advocate who is not right. We don't need to be protected from hearing different opinions, for goodness sake. Oh, what a boring place the world would be if we all had the same thoughts. You can't punish people for disagreeing with you. That's crazy. I hate my mother-in-law, but if I told her so, and she then tried to stab me with a kitchen knife, then the problem is obviously hers, not mine. Ms. Dredd, have you ever looked at the statistics of when, say, Donald Trump speaks publicly and how many hate crimes there are the next day? Because, yeah, speech actually does hurt people and kill them. Have a nice day. I agree to an extent, ventures Nick Jameson, your Minister of Domestic Security, but insulting one person is not the same as insulting an entire social grouping. The wrong word in the wrong place, and you will have violence on the streets. That's the reality we live in, whether you like it or not. If we want to make any real difference, then we need to nudge cultural values in the right direction with government awareness programs and the like. Educate the masses. Laying down a reactionary law will just fuel resentment in the long run. There's just shades of gray in everything, and honestly, like one guy saying, everybody needs to die is the kind of thing where I think pretty much everybody looks over and goes, somebody take him away. And I don't feel like we need to take him away because the outrageousness of his views segregates him all on their own. The thing is, like, when you get hate speech that somehow manages to take hold and becomes a real deal, and large groups start forming around it, and the more they speak, other people are like, publicly saying, well, I disagree with that, but in private, they'll tell you, I'm not racist, but, and then whatever they say next is very racist. I don't hate gay people, but I think, and then whatever they say next is like, we should take away all their rights or something. Like, that is how hate speech works, that is how racism works, that is how evil works in general. It permeates slowly from the outside until it gets in and blossoms like a lotus flower. Given my options, anyone who calls for the genocide of a people can piss right the hell off. A fashion designer has been arrested for inciting hatred after claiming redheads couldn't pull off Vermilion. Pawtucky's civil rights fell from excellent to... Assault figures punch through historical lows, wage rises put spring in step, money in pocket. Newspapers shed staff, engine room of economy ticking over nicely. I don't even want to get into all of that. Oh good, political freedom has fallen again. I'm getting back control in Pawtucky. Oh, and let me tell you something, this is going to be a long friggin' episode. I've been recording for 38 minutes right now. Because I've been sitting here a lot going, and talking about the law and everything, and here I am talking instead of getting on to the next issue. It's just going to be a long episode. Either that or I'm going to do some incredible editing. Probably a long episode. The war continues. Select your target. Back to the international incident that we're having with Brazilistan right now. Your government's response to overtures of aggression from the Brazilistanis has been to bomb specific, high-level, valuable assets in the nation. The smart and tactical way to go. Having decided to launch a tactical strike on Brazilistan, your military advisors have drawn up a list of different targets, each ranging in terms of severity and civilian casualties. Alright, this should be a clear-cut case. Admiral Nelson Wellington presents you with the file first. This is an aerial view of western Brazilistan. We have circled in red key armament factories, military bases, and a military airport. Eliminating these targets will not only harm the enemy's ability to mobilize an effective retaliatory attack, but it also makes it easier for us to land troops on the western coast. The impact on civilians will be minimal. Excellent. Wellington, bring me tea. That won't be enough, Air Marshal John Pasteur says firmly. Here's a map of the same region, but as you can see, our targets are much more crucial to Brazilistan's infrastructure. Give the go-ahead and my pilots will unleash the bombs on the city itself. There is a 100% chance of high civilian casualties, but that is to ensure the enemy has a 0% chance of a retaliation in any way, shape, or form. Carpet bomb it! I'm talking about parking lot, baby! Or we could just nuke them. General Rochelle Lannister says, pushing the other two out of the way. Think about it. None of our soldiers will go in, so there will be 0 casualties on our side. All it takes is 1 bomb, so it's considerably cheaper. And it means there will be no drawn-out conflict. I can't see a loss. To us, anyway. It'll decimate Brazilistan. But they are the enemy, and this is war. Okay, I've scared the kitten. Sorry, I'm sorry. Back to sleep. We're just nuking someone. Attack the military, easy decision, thank you very much. The nation's air missiles have killed thousands of Brazilistan military personnel, and we are sorry, but it's war. Defense industry welcomes new government spending. Oh, don't they? Box office cheers violent action heroes. Go, Bruce! Incomes rising, economists say, yeah, it's good war, it's always good for the economy. I am the Ronin Pod, and I gotta wrap this thing up quick, because Jesus God, I've been going for far too long. It's gonna be a long edit, I got other things to do. In fact, I need to pawn out.